Hey guys, how's it going? Today I have 4 of the most beautiful perennials to plant out in the garden. We've got 3 varieties of Nepeta, and then I do have a 4th I want to show you because we need to do a little shear back on some of them out in the garden, and some of them still look really good. And then I've got 1 variety of Coreopsis. All of these plants like full sun, they're really tough, and they provide color almost the entire season. So here's what we've got. Cat's Meow, which I have some experience with Cat's Meow, as well as the Cat's Pajamas variety that I'll be showing you out in the garden that's already planted. And then these 2 varieties that I don't have experience with, but I'm super excited to grow. So we've got Neptune. Really big bloom spikes on this one. They almost look like an annual salvia. And then we have Prelude Blue. Now this variety gets really big, like almost 3 feet tall. And that's the thing, you may have one group of plants like Nepeta that you can find probably hundreds, I'm guessing, of varieties out there. And each of them serves a little bit of a different purpose. So you might want something like Cat's Pajamas that stays really small, almost more like a ground cover type perennial. And then you've got, you know, the Prelude Blue, which grows 3 feet tall. And you might want that. You might have a spot where, you know, you want that kind of look, but you need something a little bit bigger. So it's really fun to experiment with different kinds. The interesting thing, I think, will be maintenance on these other 2 varieties, because like with Cat's Meow and Cat's Pajamas, you go in, like I'm going to go in on the Cat's Pajamas today, and you shear them back once a season, and then sometimes twice. Sometimes I can get them, if we have a really long season, I can get them to bloom 3 separate times, but it's just a very easy chore, and it's only once a season. As opposed to these other 2, I've been reading up on them, and it says just to continue to deadhead them, and they'll continue to bloom through the season if you deadhead, which will be more of a frequent chore. So we'll just see how that goes. And then we've got our Coreopsis. This is called Shades of Rose, and the reason why I wanted to bring this one out today is I kind of want to plant this one in front of this one because I love the textural difference that we have got going on here. They should be blooming at the same time, so we'll have purple and we will have that soft pink, which I think will be really fun, and they prefer the same kind of situation in the garden. Another couple things about Nepeta, which I think makes them so amazing, is 1, the amount of pollinators they attract. It's amazing, you guys, especially honeybees. Usually when you read the tags, it says that they attract butterflies and hummingbirds as well. I haven't seen as much of that activity on them as I see honeybees. I mean, they're just usually loaded with honeybee activity, which is really fun to watch. They're also very tolerant of high pH soil, which we have here. So to find things that actually can thrive in that kind of situation, that's amazing. And that's kind of why I want to plant more and more Nepeta out. Plus the amount of color, you guys. I mean, our Cat's Pajamas has been in bloom for like, it feels like months at this point. I mean, just weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and they just keep going. And then when you shear them back, they sit there for just maybe a week or 2, and then they start flushing back their new set of blooms, and then they go through the rest of the year. They're just, I mean, they're a powerhouse perennial in my book. Okay, so before we go plant all of these, let's go out to the Cat's Pajamas and I will show you what those look like. Out here in the south garden, you can see Cat's Pajamas Nepeta. Now this bunch still has quite a bit of color on it, so we're not going to be shearing this back today, but even just like a week ago, the blooms were even more vibrant, and nothing really blooms like this one does. This has got to be my favorite variety of Nepeta ever, because it looks like the plant is in bloom all the way from the ground to the top of the plant. Isn't that amazing? I can see bees on this one. It's been sprinkling a little bit today and a little bit cool out, but this one grows about 12 to 14 inches tall and 18 to 20 inch spread. So if I kind of show you overhead here, I'm kind of hoping that they all grow together, and then I would really like to continue the drift on. I just think they're so pretty. Right around it, we have the Bit of Honey Coreopsis, which isn't that a pretty mix right there, those colors? And we've also got the Royal Raspberry Agastache or Hyssop, which we just recently planted this spring along with the Bit of Honeys. It's just a really pretty area kind of developing out here. The Cat's Pajamas Nepeta that I have next to the chicken coop, that I think is about ready for a shear back. So let's head over there and I'll show you how to do that. Let's stop here really quick before we get to the coop, because I do have Cat's Pajamas here as well. Now you can see these are even further along. They're not quite ready for a cutback yet, but they're getting a little bit closer. But the thing I like about this variety as well is that the calyx, so the little thing that holds the lavender blooms in place, is kind of a pinkish color. And so even when it's done blooming, it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look like the plant is like super tired or that you need to get out there and deadhead it right away. But it's really pretty in this application too. You can see the iris, kind of a creamy, well, not creamy, like a champagne color, creamy pink, I guess. And then there's the Royal Jubilee Rose, the Delphiniums, there's Alchemilla mollis or Lady's Mantle there, just some really pretty things. White Wands Veronica is about ready to go for it right there. So it's just a really pretty spot, I think. At the chicken coop, we have Cat's Pajamas right here, which still has a lot of color on it. So we're just gonna leave that bunch alone. As we swing this direction, lots of pretty things, you guys. The Zephyrin is just amazing. And the Oh So Easy Peachy Cream Rose. Oh, so pretty. So we've got Cat's Pajamas right here, which still does have some color on it as well. Maybe they're not quite as ready as I thought. We've also got a bunch right here. Now this one is probably the most aged looking bunch. Maybe we'll just shear this back right now, even though it's got a tiny bit of color, just so I can show you what I do. So if you really take a look at the plant, you can see that the foliage canopy, like kind of where it gets denser right down in here, that's where we want to take it down. We're not going to cut it all the way back. We still want there to be leaves present so that the plant can soak in sunlight and create energy so that it can grow more robust blooms for the rest of the season. So what we're going to do is come in with our clippers and just shear it back. It does have kind of a minty fragrance. My cats leave it alone. I get questions sometimes from you guys wondering if our cats just decimate our cat mint. And they just don't. They leave it completely alone. If I had catnip in here, that would be a different story. And there we go. Just a nice tidy mound left over. So, you know, these leaves all look really good, and those will continue to, like I said, soak up sunshine, and they'll be able to soak up enough energy to get going again. Let's do these two while we're at it. Those look really good. Nice and tidy. I've got a little space to add some stuff right behind them, but this is what I was left with. So you can see there's a little bit of color there. Normally I would leave these until all the color's gone. This will probably be the next group I come in and trim back. Okay, so now let's go get these planted, and in the end I will give you a tour and I will talk about the details of each individual variety. All right, guys, we got them all planted. I just heard thunder. You see the sky behind me. It did rain on us for a little while. In fact, I took a break right in the middle of our planting, but I love where they all ended up. So let's go on a quick tour around and I'll show you where they all are. Oh, mercy. Oh, here we go, quick. All right, so starting right here at this entrance, Grass pathway, and then cat's meow. Look at all the Nepeta. I did go ahead and put a few right over here just to echo the color, and it's so pretty. So I started it right behind this Echinacea, and I don't imagine that the cat's meow, it grows like 20 inches tall. I don't think it's gonna get all that much taller than the Echinacea. They might be about the same, but I kind of just wanted them to intermingle back here because the ginger wine and the Zafiro blue spruce, those are our taller layer back behind. And then they swing around here. We've got some Salome Peony Display, which are a double peach colored, like a very soft peach colored daylily. I think that's gonna be a beautiful pair. The color of the cat's meow with the ginger wine is a beautiful pair, and then it's just a massive drift. And that's kind of what I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be a huge block of color right here. But I did kind of make the drift go in and then stop right there so we can start our next perennial right in here. And then on this side, we've got the Perennial Phlox, which is a soft pink, and then we've got a white Echinacea. There's a bright pink. I can't remember what these are called, but they get quite tall. So I just put a few right in here just to kind of pop through the front here and mirror the color from the other side. I just love it. There's also an Arctic Yellow Dogwood and a cream colored rose. This is like a little miniature rose, looking really pretty. And we've got some Monarda in there. So the cat's meow is a zone 3 through 8, just like the cat's pajamas, but this one 17 to 20 inches tall, and it says on the tag the minimum spacing is about 2 feet, which is what I did, and maximum is about 3 feet. So they will get quite big. I think they'll fill this in beautifully. Beautifully. So excited about it. Next group is right over here. So there's the cat's pajamas that we looked at earlier. And then the next are right here. So in this spot, we put the Prelude Blue Nepeta. So these are the ones that grow 28 to 36 inches tall and upwards of 30 inches wide. So I did space them out a little bit further than the others because I think they're gonna need the space, and I think they're gonna be gorgeous right here. We just planted these daylilies, which are a kind of darker purple with a purple daylily with a dark purple edge and dark purple throat. And then the Coreopsis, the shades of rose Coreopsis, which are a soft pink right up front. And I love the textural difference of all the leaves. So you've got the thick strappy leaves, the really thin kind of wispy leaves, and then kind of like your standard leaf here. I don't know. That's about as standard as a leaf can get, right? Both the Nepeta and the Coreopsis are hardy down to -20, so that's a zone 5. The Nepeta, it says that they're not gonna get to the 3-foot size until about the 2nd year, but that's kind of typical. You know, first year you can't really expect too much out of anything that you plant. They usually just sit there rooting in, which is what you want. You want them to form a good root system. And then these Coreopsis here grow 12 to 18 inches tall, 12 to 18 inches wide. So I just started them right in front of the daylilies, so there'll be a nice soft pink in front of the purple daylily, and then they kind of just gradually come over here right in front of these Nepeta. And then we can start something new right here. We just have like a nice little block of perennials going on. I think we're gonna beat this storm. Huh. We've got one more location to go to look at the Neptune variety. Right over here, I do have some pink Echinacea and cat's meow as well, right by the tiger eyes sumacs. Dahlias are all coming up. Okay, we're just gonna pop right over this boxwood hedge here. And this is where the 5 Neptune Nepeta went. And they are in between some Armeria, so Thrift, which is this bright pink color. And then on the other side, we've got the Ajuga, the Burgundy Glow, which is the pink, green, and white variegated. It's looking a little bit rough, but it did when we planted it. So I'm hoping that that kind of cruises between these plants. And then we've got, which one is this? This one is the Moneywort. So it's got the spiky pink blooms. And then we've got that soft, creamy, champagne colored iris right here, which I have more of. And I thought of popping like a little bit here, and then just like kind of continuing that strappy texture right in front of this, which this is a button bush, which, oh my word, I thought it was dead. Can you believe that? I tried to pull it out by hand twice and it was so rooted in I couldn't do it. I'm glad I couldn't. It's amazing. And then we also have the Lady's Mantle, the Mary Rose David Austins that we dug up from behind the Hartley. So there's that one. You can see this one right here. They transplanted beautifully, all of them, all 5. Anyway, the Neptune variety stays the smallest. So this one grows about 8 to 12 inches tall, 8 to 10 inches wide. It is a zone 3, so hardy to -40. Isn't that amazing? Oh, they're just so beautiful. And this was a much needed break in color because, you know, I'm focusing on pinks, whites, purples, and then, you know, kind of that chartreusey color in this area. And so I have a lot of pink going on and then a lot of pink going on, and I've got verbascum planted right there. So the verbascum will send up tall shoots, like big, almost like a delphinium or foxglove looking bloom spikes. So if I continue on the iris just right up here to the rose, I think that would be a beautiful break between this and what's going on back there. And those are just little. I started these from seed, so I expect them to take a little while to establish themselves. They look good though. And that is going to be it for today's video. I still need to go through and water everything in. I think I'll wait until this is done, whatever this brings. It probably won't be enough to settle the soil in around the root balls, so I will still do that today, and then run drip to things that don't have drip to them. This stuff that's here already has drip, and all the cat's meow that I planted out there already had drip by it, so those are good to go after their initial water in. Everything got starter fertilizer today, so we really, other than just making sure they stay moist through this season, they're all super tough. Usually the first season, even on drought tolerant things, you do want to keep them on the moist side, especially if you live in a harsher climate. Typically our weather is a little more harsh than it is right now. Just nuts. We have a 10-day with no temps above like 88, and we have one night that's supposed to be 38 degrees and more rain coming this next weekend. I welcome it all. It's so amazing. I know I say that in every video, but it's just so abnormal for us and so amazing. We're just loving it. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do not have Nepeta in your garden, I really suggest that you plant it. It's just such an amazing perennial, and it gives so much back. There are some perennials that don't. There are some that take a long time to rebloom, or they only bloom one time, and I really lean hard into those perennials that produce color through most of the season, because I feel like those are the backbone of a color in my garden, and it's kind of important. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.